Welcome back. So I showed you how to make some modeling chocolate. Now we've got some, and I'm going to show you some fun things you can do and ways that you can use it to decorate. Okay, with your modeling chocolate, the best way to keep it from sticking to you or to your surface is to use some powdered sugar. So I've got a little dusting pouch here filled with powdered sugar. I'm just going to dust my surface here, put my modeling chocolate down and dust that as well. Doesn't take very much, but it's good to be safe. And then I'm just going to take my rolling pin and start rolling it out. It rolls out really nicely and evenly. I really like using this. You can use modeling chocolate instead of fondant for some cases, like making flowers and different things like that. You cannot use modeling chocolate for covering a cake. That just doesn't work. It's not malleable enough, it breaks too easily. It's not really meant to get as soft as fondant does. So that's one thing you cannot do with modeling chocolate, but pretty much anything else goes. It's really fun to use it because it sets up a lot faster than your fondant, so I really like using it. Okay, so I've got my modeling chocolate laid out here. I'm going to decorate a little cookie with it. And so I've just got a little mini cookie cutter. I love mini cookie cutters. That's my one fatal flaw in life, is that, oh my goodness, I see a mini cookie cutter and I've got to have it. Okay, so I've got these fun little bunnies. And if you've worked with fondant before, you'll probably notice right away how nicely this stands up. I could put this directly onto a cupcake. It would stand up, and I'd be able to use that as my little decoration. Usually with fondant, if you want something to stand up, you need to let it dry for a couple days. But with these modeling chocolate pieces, especially if it's a little bit colder, if it's too warm outside during the summertime, it's not going to set up very nicely for you. But during the winter time, when it's a little bit colder in an air-conditioned room, that works out really well. They do just great. Okay, so we've got a little bit of buttercream icing here, and I'm just going to put a little bit on this cookie and stick the modeling chocolate onto there. Now the cool thing too about using the modeling chocolate for decorating is you could actually bake your cookie, and then you put the modeling chocolate on there right after it comes out of the oven, and it just kind of melts it to your cookie. So you've got this really yummy chocolate coating on top of it. It'll stay really nice in the decoration form that you've used, and it just works out really, really well. So I really like using the modeling chocolate. Okay, so we've stuck our little bunny face to there. I'm going to take this bag of icing and pipe an outline on the outside of the bunny, and then I'm going to dip it in some sugar sprinkles just to give it fun little outline here and some different colors to it. So put that all the way around. There we go. And then I'm actually going to use some of the jimmies. I like the jimmies sometimes better than the sugar sprinkles because they just kind of pop out better. Again, pour it on my napkin here. Then take my cookie and dip my cookie, pushing down so that the jimmies really stick to the icing. They will stick to your modeling chocolate. You want to make sure not to press too hard. I've pressed too hard with this one, so it kind of stuck to my modeling chocolate, but I can just wipe them off because they're just going to come right off for you, which is really nice. That one just doesn't want to let go. There we go. And now I've got a fun little cookie here with my little modeling chocolate bunny rabbit outlined in my little sprinkles. Really fun, fast, easy. It'll taste really good because it's got that chocolate flavor in there. The white, of course, is the vanilla chocolate, so it's going to taste vanilla. It's not white chocolate or anything like that. You can find melting chocolate that is white chocolate rather than a vanilla flavored. Most of the colored chocolates will be a vanilla flavored, so if you're looking for chocolate ones, you'll have to, I still haven't found them. I don't think they make them, so you'll have to look pretty hard. Okay, so for our pink ones. We'll clean up some of these little sprinkles that ran around here. We'll put them back into our jar. Shake that out. Okay, so for our pink modeling chocolate here, we are going to do a fun little butterfly on our cookie and show you how it stands up really nicely. The modeling chocolate works really well. You can handle it too much. If you handle it too much, it will get really soft. And if it does that, that's okay. Just set it aside, let it harden up and dry out again, or put it back in the refrigerator so that if it's a heat issue, it'll get colder and work out really well for you. Sometimes it'll get soft, but not too soft, just really sticky, like the butters and things like that are in the chocolate will separate the oils, and so you can just dab it with some powdered sugar, and that helps to get everything back to its non-stickiness, non-greasiness again. The other thing that I really like about modeling chocolate is you can get it a lot thinner than fondant, especially getting it thin and still having it stand up for you. That works out really nice. For these butterflies, I kind of want them to be thin and delicate. I don't want to have a really thick butterfly wing. Okay, so we've got our little butterfly here. Now I'm going to take this little cookie stick, and I'm actually going to push it in the center to help shape it so that those wings will stand up. So when I put it on my cookie, I can kind of bend it and make it stand up for me. Okay, so we'll set that aside for a second here, and we'll get our cookie. Now I'm using buttercream icing, but again, you can use anything. I've also got some white melting chocolate right here that I can adhere it to. It works really well with that, whatever you want to do. So I've put a little bit of buttercream icing on our cookie. Take our butterfly, and there you go. You've got this nice little cookie with your stand-up butterfly wings. They're standing up really nicely. They're not going to fall over or droop or anything like the fondant ones usually do. You have to let those set up for a couple days and dry out and everything, but these work out really nice. These pieces will dry and harden a little bit, just a little bit. It'll still be completely edible. You'll be able to bite through it just fine, but they'll just set up nicely so that it doesn't droop or anything like that. So we've got a fun little cookie like that right there. Okay, the last one we're going to do is a little flower. And I think I'm going to use our pink again. And there's some little pieces that are falling off. That's fine. We'll just mold it back in together, knead it back together. We'll move our little bunny guy over here. We'll do a flower, and we're going to stick this flower on a cookie stick. And I'm going to show you with the melting chocolate how to adhere it to there. And then you'll be able to have something that sticks up out of your cake or out of your cupcake or something, and it works really, really good. If you have some of those flower former sets to form different shapes of flowers, you can use the modeling chocolate with those. They work really, really good. You just, again, want to make sure you dust everything with powdered sugar so it doesn't stick. We want to get this a little bit thinner. There we go. If you're worried about thickness, if you want to get an even thickness or something like that, you can always pass this through like a clay, one of those clay machines that rolls it through, and it'll roll it through the same thickness and everything. Just again, make sure you use lots of powdered sugar so it doesn't stick. Okay, so we've got our modeling chocolate. We'll get our little tulip here. Or we also have kind of a sunflower shaped flower. Has a couple of petals. We'll do a couple of these. And these are really fun. Oh, I just love the miniature cookie cutters. They're just too much fun. Okay, so we'll set that aside. Now we've got our little cookie sticks here. And we've got our melted white chocolate. Get that down to the end here. And just put a little bit here on the end of your stick. And take our tulip piece and stick it on. And we'll let that sit for just a minute so it can dry and harden up, and it will just stay on there very nicely. It'll stand up for you. While we're waiting, we'll put the little petal one on there. Another tip, fun thing with your melted chocolate, is if you do have fondant pieces or modeling chocolate pieces that you want to stand up and they're kind of drooping because they're so small or thin or whatever is the case, you can actually take these pieces and wipe some of your modeling chocolate on the back of it, or some of your melting chocolate, there we go, on the back of your piece, let it dry and set up, and that will be a good base for your pieces to stay stiff, and they won't fall apart, they won't droop or anything like that, and that will happen pretty quick. So if you're under the gun and you're trying to make this really fast, instead of waiting a couple days for your fondant pieces to dry, you can actually smooth some of this melted chocolate on the back of it, and it'll dry up and firm everything up really fast for you so you can use it almost immediately. Okay, so these have dried really nicely, and there we've got our tiny little flower on a stick that I can now stick this into like a little cupcake or the cake itself. I would probably take some like green melted chocolate and paint the stick so that it can have like a green stem, and then make a little modeling chocolate green leaf and add it to it. There's just so many endless possibilities. And here's our little 5-petal flower one, worked out really, really good. It's just a lot of fun to work with modeling chocolate. Another thing that you can do is, especially if you have a round cookie like this or square or whatever shape, usually no matter what you do, they do grow a little bit. They will expand in the oven, spread out a little bit. So you could take the same exact cookie cutter and you can cut out that same shape in your modeling chocolate and put it on top of your cookie, and it will pretty much cover the whole thing very nicely. And so you can have that nice smooth surface. The modeling chocolate will set up rather quickly, and then you can write on it, you can decorate on it, you can paint on it, whatever you want. And that's just a really fast way to get a nice smooth surface for your cookies if you're looking for that kind of decoration. The last thing that I wanted to show you really quick is with piping gel and your modeling chocolate, you can, if you don't want to use melted chocolate or buttercream or something to decorate your pieces of modeling chocolate, you can use piping gel. So I'm just going to take my paintbrush here and dip it into my piping gel, and I'm just going to paint some little stripes onto my flower here. And then I can dip this in the sugars, and I won't have that background of the buttercream icing or the melted chocolate or something. I'll just be able to stick everything on there and have my pattern without it being seen, because this stuff is clear, which works out really good. So I'm going to use my little sugar sprinkles again. Move this to the side. Dump some out here. And I'm going to push it in ever so lightly, because they will stick to my modeling chocolate if I'm not careful. There we go. And we'll just tap, tap, tap. And again, there we go. Kind of wipe off the excess ones. Let's wipe off my paintbrush here. Get it dry so I can clean off some of these that stuck in places that I don't want them. There we go. And there we go. We've got our cute little decorated flower here. The lines inside kind of bring it out more. You can see just the sugars. You don't see anything behind it because the piping gel is clear, so that really helps. I especially like doing that like on the butterflies or something. You want to keep it delicate looking. You don't want all this globby icing on top of it and everything, so that works out really well. You can also use water. Water will be just fine, or like vanilla flavoring or something, but I just find that the liquid tends to run everywhere and get it kind of melted and messy. I just really like using the piping gel. It's clear, it stays sticky for a little bit, and you can just work with it really nicely. So that's modeling chocolate. I hope you've liked what I've done for you today. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I hope it's motivated you to go out there, buy some melting chocolate and make your modeling chocolate and figure some of this stuff out. It's really fun to work with, and I have a great time with it. I hope you do too, and we'll see you next time.